In this video, I'm going to be going over how to install the new Supervisor Lite add-on for your SCPrime hosting provider configuration. As you may know, I'm pretty heavy into storage, decentralized storage, and providing storage across various platforms, whether that be Storage, Saya, SCPrime, or even the upcoming Flux decentralized storage options. And in this video, I'm going to be covering how to install the Supervisor Lite add-on for your DIY installation of SCPrime. So you do have to have a basic license for this, which I think at this point, in order to even be on the network as a provider, you have to at least have a basic license, which I do have. I bought it probably actually like last year, maybe around this time. Maybe it was earlier this year when they announced the licensing model that they were moving to. I went ahead and purchased basic license. I already have it tied to my provider key, basically my pub key, and I have SCPrime running already. So we're not going to go over how to get SCPrime up and running, but we do have, if we jump over to my provider, right, I am running a very small SCPrime host. Right now I'm only providing 3.5 terabytes of storage using 650 gigs. And what we can see is my announced URL is a manually specified URL, and it's a dynamic host name. So with Supervisor Lite, you no longer have to do DDNS. It can automatically detect whenever your public IP changes. If you have a dynamic IP, it can re-announce that. But more importantly, it can handle all of the collateral definitions for you. So one of the big things with SCPrime, and this is pretty much for all decentralized storage, in order for it to be scalable and really marketable, it's got to be tethered to the US dollar in some way. And the way SCPrime does that is they basically tie the number of SCP tokens per bandwidth download, whether that's your download, your upload, your collateral. They tie all that to essentially $4 a terabyte. Right, that's essentially what the going rate is. And so with prices fluctuating all the time, it gets really hard to keep up with that. So they've created this Supervisor Lite application that you can run side by side. And so I'm running an SCP provider on Linux, and what I have is actually running this on a HiveOS rig. It's really not a rig, it's a dedicated server. I just like running HiveOS so that I can manage everything from within the HiveOS dashboard. But if we take a look here, all of my SCPrime executables are in this SCP folder. And so what we're going to do is we're going to download Supervisor Lite, and we're going to throw it in this folder, and we're going to get it up and running. So first thing we're going to do is we're going to head on over to the docs, and we're going to head to the supervisor, or the software section rather. And here you're going to see this is the regular daemon that you would use to run a provider. And here is Supervisor Lite. We're just going to get a Linux one. We're going to copy the address. We're going to head on back over to our provider, and we're going to do a wget. Go ahead and download that file. We can see we have it. We're going to go ahead and unzip it. Alright, so now we have our Supervisor Lite application. Let me go ahead and remove the zip file. Alright, and I'm going to move Supervisor Lite into the directory where I have the rest of my applications. Let's jump over to that folder. Alright, so we now have Supervisor Lite running here. And if we just run it with the help command, we can see we have lots of options here. So the first one is the API address and password. So the API address, if you're using the default, you don't need to change this. However, if you're running multiple providers or you're just running it on a different port, you can specify that here. You also have to specify the password, which can also be an environment variable, which is where I have mine set up. And then let's see here what else we got. So you can disable the auto announce. If you just want to do pricing and you don't want it to auto announce, you can do disable auto announce there. You can also define, if you do leave it enabled, then you can define the intervals in which it checks for your IP and the minimum interval between two announcements. So if for some reason your IP changes twice within 10 minutes, or let's say 3 times within 20 minutes, it's only going to report that 2 times within a 30-minute period by default. You can change that to anything you need. And then you can also include this mining check, which basically says if that re-announcement hasn't been included in a block in an hour, then re-announce it. There's really not too much congestion on the network. That shouldn't be an issue. And then the auto pricing, this is really the key piece of it for me, right? I have dynamic DNS, so the auto re-announce isn't as big of a deal as the auto pricing. So this will allow it to peg to whatever dollar amount you want in USD. So the default is $4. However, if they change this in the future, you can come in and adjust it. And then you can also adjust specific settings to be updated. By default, it will update all of them. So the max download batch size, the duration, the revised batch size, the window size, the collateral budget, the max collateral per contract, the min base price, the minimum contract price, and then the min download bandwidth price, as well as the min upload bandwidth, min sector access price, min storage price, and then the max prices as well, and max account risk. And then you can force it to update the difference. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to set this up to just run with the defaults. It really shouldn't matter for me too much, but the first thing we're going to do is we're actually going to head on over to the dashboard, and let's pull up my provider. You're going to see some downtime here. This is because I was moving to a new host. I moved to a rack mount server from my NAS, so that's why we've got some downtime issues here. Just while I was copying all the data over. But right off the bat here, we can see it's using my dynamic DNS. So let's go ahead and let's just run it real quick and see what it does. Let's make sure. All right, and so it looks like what should have happened here is, oh, it's still running. Okay. So it would have updated all the pricing. Yep. So big time. So what you can actually see here is that my pricings were, well, I was overpriced on the minimum contract price, so that dropped, which is good. The min storage price, I was underpriced, so up that up. So I'll actually be making more now by running this because it's gonna constantly be kind of checking itself against that, the current market value of the coin. Okay. And it's probably not going to reflect over here immediately because this requires this scan to run. So their scans typically run every 30 minutes or so. So I'll just double check everything is good once that updates. But you can see we were running at 15 SCP per terabyte per month. Let's see if we can see what that 15 translated to. Let's see here. I don't believe that is going right here. I think it's, oh yeah, that's interesting. So it said it couldn't update min base price. Oh, it failed updating the min base price, but then it ended up updating it. That's odd. So it looks like it did update it to 47 SCP, I think that's right. Let's just double check this. Yep, alright. So it looks like everything is on par now. Alright, so now the next step is to set this up so that it runs with everything else that runs on the system. So what I personally have is I have a startup script that runs on boot. And we're gonna pull that up with Nano. And all we're going to do in here is after we unlock the wallet, we're going to go ahead and run this in a new screen. We're going to user bin screen -dms, and I'm going to call this supervisor. And this is going to be in the SCP folder, and I think it was Supervisor Lite. Believe that's what that is. Yes, Supervisor Lite. So now to verify that this will work, let's just go ahead and copy this. We're going to go ahead and run that, and we're going to attach to that screen. Should be Supervisor, and here we can see it's running. And here we can see it's already telling us everything's already up to date. There's nothing to update. Let's see if that has reflected yet. Not yet. So I'll just keep an eye on this, and that's pretty much it for the install. This will, if we do Control-A-D, that'll get us out of that screen session, and the screens are still running. So we've got a couple here. We've got SCP and we've got Supervisor running pretty much everything that we need. And if we run the host, I can just run it from here, SPC host. So we are all good. That's it for this video. Just wanted to kind of show you how to get that installed, up and running, and what the commands are.